if you are leading people spiritually, one of the things you've got to constantly watch out for is drift. The idea that you would not notice the organization or your personal life or the team moving and shifting on things that are important. And it's kind of like if you go to the beach and you're swimming and the tide is coming and going and the waves are coming and going, and you don't notice that, you're looking back at where you started out, and you realize when you're in the water, you've moved a long ways from where you started out. Maybe you get disconnected from your family. And the same thing can happen in any kind of leadership capacity and any kind of leadership assignment, is that you got to keep your eye on drift. And I want to just talk about several kinds of drift that we can all experience. And the first one that I want to point out is mission drift. The idea that we would be on task on a mission that we've clarified and it's focused and it's really good, but that along the way we kind of pick up these, to keep with the ocean theme, barnacles, I guess, right? And they just kind of attach to what we're doing. And we don't really notice them at first. A couple barnacles, aren't a big deal, but if you keep going for a while and you get all of these extra things on you, you're going to be weighed down. Whether that be a good activity that, you have an opportunity and it seems like a good idea, and then you don't realize that it takes you away from like the main thing. And of course they say keep the main thing the main thing. That's really what this is about. How do you do that and not drift into some other thing? So mission is a really important aspect to keep your eye on, which is really all about activity. The idea that what we do should match what we say our mission is. As an example, the church that I lead, Westside Community Church, the mission is helping people find and follow Jesus. And so, we regularly have to audit this area to go, are we actually on mission? Is that the thing we do? Is that the main thing we do? Is it by and large the only thing that we do? Is it focused? Are we able to stay faithful to that? Because it is so easy to say yes to so many things, and we realize after we look back at the shore, we are not on track, and we better get back where we need to be. So watching for drift, it's a lot easier to fix drift a little bit at a time than once it's really off. If it's really off, and we see this in a lot of times in helping other churches and helping other leaders, that it just takes a lot more effort. And there are times when you can't bring something back from that kind of drift. So it's important to just keep your eye on it all the time. Another kind of drift is vision drift. The idea that what we're dreaming about long term can drift. And sometimes it's because we just get distracted. We have shiny object syndrome. I struggle with this as a leader. It's fun to pursue new things. And yet, if we're always darting off in some other different direction, some other different vision, a new fancy thing that we're going to pursue, sometimes that's really, really, not sometimes, that's really hard on an organization, hard on a group or a team. And so to keep that big North Star out there, that's the same real vision. They say plans change, visions stay the same. And so I think that really comes back to what's in my heart, maybe as the leader. If you're not the leader of an organization, maybe you're part of the group that gets to have those conversations. If you're leading a team, you can keep that conversation like, what's in my heart of where we're going? And have I defined it well enough? And is it compelling enough for me that it's going to keep my attention? I think visions need to be big because of that. They need to keep the leader's attention, that they be so big, so compelling that they say, really, this is going to take my lifetime to accomplish. And so having a big vision that pulls me forward keeps me from saying, I want to reinvent the vision every, 6 months. Instead, we want to keep pursuing this big thing. We're going to try all kinds of things to do it. That's not the same thing as shiny object syndrome. That's not the same thing as distraction. That's invention, as long as it doesn't take us off course. So mission drift, vision drift, values drift can be a big problem. It's easy, and this can happen a lot if you get new team members on a team that don't get enculturated. And you can think about onboarding as such an important process on any size team. It could be 2 people. What is the onboarding process? Meaning, how do you share tribal knowledge? How do you share history and story? How do you share important key decisions and pivots and why those decisions and pivots were made and what value is behind those? Have we defined the values of the teams that we lead, of the people that we lead? Because if we don't, and if we don't constantly come back And I think there's I love what Marcus Buckingham says in The One Thing You Need to Know. He says that really there's two types of leadership actions. There's systematic and symbolic actions. And the systematic ones are, you set in place like, hey, here's our values, right? And then there are those symbolic ones where maybe an incident occurs and it's a chance to stop and either affirm that this direction that we just took, this action that we took, it actually lined up with our values. And so go team. Or to go, why that made us all feel funny was it wasn't on value. We were off our values. And so let's get that back there. Let's adjust that. But watching for drift in all these things is so important. And it's part of the job of any leader, of any size team, especially a spiritual leader, because the stakes are higher for us. And we want to make sure we're staying on point. Another one is the culture. Just a culture drift can happen, where maybe it's something like we used to have a fairly flat team and now it's very layered. Or maybe it's something like it used to be easy to get things done. Now it's hard. Those are like drift things. And so you can kind of stop and go, wow, what is the culture that we want to produce? For instance, I was just sharing with our church this weekend that we want to have a decidedly encouraging environment. And that's just an important thing. It's part of the culture that we want to create, is this upbeat, we're happy, not glossing over issues, but just going like we're choosing joy as a team, as a church. And that stuff really matters, because if you don't define the culture, it will define you. And somebody else might come in from an outside perspective and just either dilute the culture if we're not watching it, or maybe even sometimes sabotage the culture. It's happened. And so we got to watch for that as leaders. Another last one I want to point out is performance. The idea of performance drift. It can happen when we get our eye off of what we've decided on. And I think, when you think about drift in general, you can only address it if you have been clear in the first place. All these things are places to be clear: mission, vision, values, culture, performance. Like, what do we expect of ourselves? And how do we make sure that we keep expecting that performance, that achievement, that culture of deliverables, that we're going to do it, we're going to execute. We have a culture of excellence. Whatever your thing is, that performance is a piece of that. And so when you lower your expectations about what you expect of yourself, what you expect of your team, it drifts. And now we have to decide, are we going to address that, or are we going to accept a lower output, accept a lower standard? Because that's what inevitably happens when we don't go back and say, oh, we got to right the ship here. We got to get it right back to where it should be. And by and large, we do these things by addressing one thing at a time. What happens with drift is that too many incidents, too many conversations, too many decisions, too many dropping the ball, things go by, we don't address them, and now there's a new path that's worn. And again, undoing that takes a lot of energy, whereas just stepping in and being quick to respond, run to conflict, we call it, is super helpful with this. So I want to just encourage you to watch for drift this week in whatever team, whatever venture, whatever thing you're leading, to watch for drift, address it graciously, but address it, because getting it back on point will save you tons of heartache in the future. I hope that helps you a bit. I hope you're having a great Monday, and I hope you're having a great week. And I want you to know I'm cheering for you. And if I can help you in any way, if I can offer you some coaching, if I can offer you some resources, or just a listening ear, let me know. You can respond to this email that this video is coming out in. If you didn't get this in an email, you can respond to Gabe at gabekolstad.com. I'd love to chat with you. We'll talk soon.